Let's run it, baby.
My name is Jonathan with Escobar Kennels.
My name is Jesus with Fire French Bullies, man. This is Behind the Breeders. Today, we're going to get into a ton of free game. This is like a gym episode right here. So put your fucking your headphones on, get your paper. We're going to get into a lot of free game today, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Because, I mean, the people, that's what they've been wanting. They've been wanting free game. And honestly, you had the idea. When you told me the idea, I'm like, we got to run this on the podcast, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, bro. So for everyone right now that's watching, we're going to get into the 10 stud commandments. This is something that's, very, very important. This is something that I've done and I've implemented and it's worked for me. I came up with everything myself, and this is the note I have is about 2 years old, but it's still extremely relevant, and this is what's worked for me.
What made you come up with that? Like, where did this idea come from, bro? Which, by the way, it's a fire-ass idea, bro, the 10 stud commandments.
So originally there was a lot of people, I was doing mentorship calls, and I was charging, I think it was $100 for an hour. And I remember just doing the calls over and over. Everybody was always, bro, the questions they would ask is, how can I promote my stud? What do I need to know about if I get a stud? And then at that point, I'm like, you know what? Like, after all these calls, and I knew that my program was stud driven, I'm like, I should come up with something, And at first, it wasn't called the 10 stud commandments. I just started writing stuff down, bullet points, chapter 1, chapter 2. But then it was one of those ideas that I just had that I never really pursued because I'm like, I wanted to do an ebook. That was the original thing. I'm like, I want to make a book, have everything listed in there. But then where I wanted it, where people could hear me, plug in their headphones and just drive almost like a podcast. But I just never did it, bro. So
I mean, it's never too late, buddy. You can still do it.
We're gonna get into
100%. Because I feel like in the ebook too, you can go into more depth. Like right now, we're gonna go through it and stuff, man. Because like I said, it was a fire idea. As soon as you brought it to me, I'm like, bro, we gotta do it on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be cool, bro. So let's dive deep into it. Let's get this shit jumping. So, chapter 1. Chapter 1 is basically gonna just go over establishing your vision, which we touched on the last episode, so I won't really get too much into that. Establishing your vision, picking your stud, and how to shop. So what I tell everyone when you're trying to establish a vision is really understand what you want. Really know the look you want and understand that the dog is important. You're important as far as taking that dog to the top. But if you're expecting where you're getting the dog from, meaning the seller, the breeder, understand what you want from them, because a lot of people will get dogs and they will never, they'll just never get what they want. They'll be like, oh, I wanted to collab with the breeder. He's not collabing. The breeder's not putting me on game. The breeder's not doing this. So in my eyes, the dog that you're getting, and this isn't just as important in your vision, the dog that you're getting is just as important as who you're getting it from.
Facts.
Because if you can get a deal where you get a fire dog plus a fire mentor, you'll be set up like no fucking other.
It's the key to success.
It really is. So really understanding what you want. And then as far as picking a stud, I tell everybody this. If you look at a puppy and you have to question in your head, oh, well, this dog Pop, oh, he's great, but he lacks this, it's already not the dog. A lot of people have to work with the budget. But at the end of the day, if you love a dog, and this is just me personally, anytime I have seen a dog, it's always been out of my price range. Not really anymore, but when I first was looking at dogs, I'm like, dude, I can't fucking afford that. I'm not going to do that. But if you are truly in love with the game and you are infatuated to the point where you're up all night looking at dogs, that eagerness to buy the dog, you will figure it the fuck out, bro. And you will go get some money one way or another. You'll be selling shit, trying to take out a loan, trying to do this. And that's really, the key point of finding the right fucking dog. Because a lot of people will be like, oh, let me settle for this. And I get it. Some people can't figure it out. They gotta work with what they get. But that's step 1. I always tell people it's like comparing cars. If you're buying a fucking old ass Honda or a fucking brand new Lamborghini, obviously you're going to get more traction right off the rip from a Lamborghini,
Facts.
So that's kind of the whole vision aspect, really understanding, because a lot of people will also buy dogs and they'll be like, you know what? I bought this stud, but I'm going to buy a female totally different, and in my eyes, it's like, if you're going for that look, you have to stay consistent with what you're buying to breed to that dog.
What I've noticed a lot of people do, a lot of amateurs, in my experience, is that they don't know what they're looking for. They'll buy a Frenchie, a puppy, because all puppies look good.
Yeah.
And then that puppy will end up looking like a giraffe or end up skinny or and have certain little features that they like, but lack in a lot of other departments, and they'll still run it.
They always do, bro. And because, I mean, at that point, and I have a lot of clients that do the same thing, and I have to be honest with them. They ask me straight up, hey, what do you think about this female that I'm taking to solo? And I tell them, like, do you really, like, want my honest opinion, And I'm not a hater, but at the end of the day, it's like, if I can put someone on and kind of give them that wake-up call, like, hey, this probably isn't going to be it, then I would rather be that guy than look back and be like, fuck, like, I could have helped them. Or them finally elevate, like, damn, why didn't Fire French Bullies tell me that my female was whack, But at the end of the day, I still obviously tell them to run the breeding, but just use the money you make off that litter to really buy a bad bitch or a stud, whatever your vision happens to be.
Facts. Reinvest into your program. We just talked about that last episode,
bro.
Super important.
Major, so important, and it's so overlooked, bro. Because a lot of people will continue to work with what they have over and over and over, and they'll never go out. It's a sense of kennel blindness. It's a sense of ego. It's a sense of, oh, I just don't need to. Let me, you know what I mean? And if you really want to win, you really have to take a fucking risk, bro. There's no way around it. And not every risk is going to be a reward, but at the same time, if you don't ever fucking take the risk, you're never going to get that possible reward.
Facts. Facts.
So let me glance at this really quick. Picking a stud.
So that was chapter 1.
Yeah, so that was chapter 1. Like I said, establishing the vision, picking that stud, and then how to shop and knowing your budget, because there's a lot. This is another thing too, is there's a lot of people that sell dreams, bro. There is a ton of people that will price, even though the dogs that they bought, let's say they bought the dog for $2K and they locked in the stud for $500 or whatever it is, they will do that, and then they will try to sell their dogs for $15K. Which, if the look of the dog permits it, great. But I would say about 99% of the time, those puppies look like they're probably worth the $1,500 to $2K mark.
Facts.
So
pet
really,
home puppies.
Yeah, so really understanding the breeder and understanding, do they produce consistently? Do these dogs that they're selling look better in a long run? Studying the pedigrees, because for me, I'm really big into structure. So if I see a stud that I'm potentially going to buy, I already know the stud has to at least be 4 months old. I'm not going to buy a puppy. There's no way. There's a lot of current biggie offspring right now that the dogs look amazing. But like you just said right now, puppies always look cute, So I personally, I will not buy a stud. I will not co-own a stud unless he's at least 4 months.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum, And just understanding, how much money you're going to put in. Because a lot of people, like I said, they don't really have a baseline of what they're looking to spend, and then they end up getting sold a dream, and then it's, you know what I mean? It's just hard.
It's super important to do your research on who you're getting that dog from. 100%, because you also should check, like, too, where is this puppy being brought up in? Is it kennel trained? Is it potty trained? Is it getting socialized?
Bro.
So much stuff is overlooked. Like that goes into what you said about, doing your research. Is this person going to help you out? Is this person going to, just take and take and take until they can't take anymore?
Yeah. And it's weird too, bro, because I've noticed a lot of the bigger breeders, even if they do produce nice dogs, a lot of people will do the bare minimum. You're lucky sometimes if you get the papers. You're lucky if they give you a Ziploc bag full of food. So I've started a new little tradition, at least with my kennel. Bro, I send people home with fucking beds. Now we have the Fire French clothing, so they're going home with collars, outfits. You know what I mean?
Fire,
and it's a nice little care pack. Because a lot of times I'll tell people straight up, like, hey, I'm selling you the dog for, let's say, $3,000, $4,000. I can either pet home the dog with you, or you can do the papers, but understand that this wasn't the first pick of the litter, and a lot of times it runs into the problem, well, if I'm paying $3,000 or $4,000, then you go back and forth with someone like, no, bro, but the dogs I normally sell, that are high caliber are probably going to be around 10 minimum, you know? So let's get into chapter 2. So chapter 2 is basically going to go over how to build a name for your stud, how to hype your stud up, building and finding your niche on IG, how to price your stud's intro, and how to build and maintain the hype. So I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm not good with picking studs' names. Most of my
that shit is so difficult, bro. Because you want to stand out.
Always, bro.
You want to stand out, and there's like all the goddamn good names are taken, bro.
And then every time I do come up with the name, I always second guess myself, like, is this even cool? Or so most of my studs, bro, already had their name, and it just, in my eyes, fit.
That's a fun fact. I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, bro. All of them, I think. I'm pretty sure all of them. Solo had his name. Biggie had his name.
You didn't
T-Rex
name
had his
any
name.
of them?
Nope. Shark had his name. Morpheus obviously already had his name. All of them, bro. All of them. So I kept that shit rocking, you know? Let's see. So, and then let's get into the niche, your niche on IG. When I first came in the game, I was always, the concept of this is to get your name on as many screens as you can. And what I mean by that is when you're on Instagram and you don't, your DMs aren't blown up, you know, you don't have a lot of traction, you don't have much motion, to make sure that you are, I wouldn't say showing fake love, but it's a simple concept of do for other people's what you want them to do for you. You know, so like everybody's shit, comment on everybody's shit, share everybody's story. And I always, when I say niche, I mean your like people that are in your area, in the sense of, oh, I have 2,000 followers. This guy has 2,000 followers. This guy is also on the come up. Like, try to find those people, and not just that. See if their vision kind of aligns with yours, or, oh, they're breeding fluffies. They're breeding structure. Find that group and just try to bounce off of it. All of them, you know, sharing their stuff, liking their stuff, swiping up, you know, commenting on their things. Because if you can do that, and I still do it with my little circle that I came up with, regardless if I kind of went up here or whatever the case is, just because it's so important, you know, like if they're sharing your stuff, all it takes is someone to see your fucking picture, your story, your post, and to be like, you know what? Who is this Escobar Kennels? Let me click on his page. So I tell people that a lot, just because it's so overlooked. People expect to go on Instagram and they'll post maybe one time a week, once every 2 weeks, and it's like there is no bad thing about posting too much, you know, because not only it may be annoying to some people, because I do get a lot of DMs where it's like, can you share this and like, comment, and do this for me and that? And
I get flooded with those.
Yeah, bro.
Especially the ones that don't show love back, though. Like the ones that do show love, bro, I 100% show love. But you ain't got to ask me, bro, because I'm already doing that shit.
Because you already know, though. You already know the vibe. And you already know they like your shit. So I'm not going to lie. I get a lot of that, right? And sometimes I want to get irritated. But then I'm like, you know what? You used to do that. You used to do the same thing. And until you get to that point where you don't have to send your post to 70 people, just fucking keep doing it. You know, it may come across as annoying to people like me, because I'm like, bro, like, if I see it, I'll like it. Hold on really quick to think it. Check. There we go. If I see it, I'll like it. Hold on. Check. That was weird.
This chapter's super spicy though, bro. I can't lie. It's nice, bro, because there's so much shit that it covers on there. Yeah, let's go.
The Instagram is so important. Like it's my bread and butter, bro. I would be nowhere without my Instagram. I'm be honest, bro. Like if I didn't go viral those 40 to 50 times,
that's a lot of times to go viral, bro. For one, I've yet to go viral. I mean, so just to go viral in general, man, and get that kind of traction is an accomplishment within itself. But you did that
And I don't know
numerous
how it
times,
kept
bro.
happening, bro.
Because you have a
Like,
fucking beautiful dog. You were taking quality videos, you were taking quality photos, and you were out there putting in the legwork, bro. You were going
it
out of
was
state
really
shows.
God,
You
bro.
were
Like, I
out here
was,
moving, bro. And in your hunger, like you said, bro, you got this dog. You spent 10K on this motherfucking dog after just spending 6K on the other dog and taking that L. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were hungry. You got a family,
I
bro.
was, bro. I was extremely hungry. And I remember as everything was going viral, I was like, you know what? Now I have to top this post. I have a whole mentality, bro. Every time I'm on Instagram, it's like, okay, don't get me wrong. I do scroll through random reels and bullshit sometimes, but a lot of times I go on there, it's like, okay, how can I top yesterday's post? Okay, I'm gonna post 4 times today. I am so obsessed with the app in the sense of looking at all my stories. Do I like this story? No, and I'll delete it. Like I'm infatuated with it, bro. And that's what I'm trying to tell everybody is like, really get your name across as many screens as you can. Don't try to obviously, if you're newer in the game, don't think that like, oh, I'm going to get Fire French Bullies on my network. He's going to share my stuff all the time. He's going to do this because I might sometimes. But if you can find the people that are coming up as well and share their stuff and you guys get it in all together and continue to elevate each other.
Teamwork makes the dream work,
Yeah, bro.
For real,
That's
for real.
that's the real fucking sauce right there. Because like I said, there's so many people that'll get on the app, they'll post on the same grass table, they'll do the exact same post they did yesterday, or they won't even post. And I tell people this, you can post 1,000,000 times and the worst thing that can happen is, oh, this only got 5 likes. Just fucking delete it. Oh, this one didn't do well. Let me, like if you can channel in doing the right thing over and over, bro, you will hit. It's just like the lottery, because it was weekly. We were going viral. Every fucking week I would wake up and I'd be like, God damn, I would wake up to like 400 new followers, 500 new followers. And it was coming in.
Fire.
It was coming in quick, bro. And at that point, I'm like, okay, what am I doing? My clips were always under 15 seconds. That was step one. Always under 15 seconds. And then I would go on Instagram and I would always look at the trending audios. When you select a song for your reel or whatever, hit that trending tab. Try to find something that kind of goes with obviously what you're posting. And then make sure that trending audio has under 7,000 people that have used it. Because every trending audio will be like, oh, there was already 500,000 reels made with this audio. If you can find the ones that are on the come up in the sense of being used less than 7,000 times, you have way more of a shot of going viral with that audio than something that's already been used like
Boom, bro.
200,000 times,
And that's
bro.
free game right there.
Yeah,
That's free game.
so that was also major. And then I started paying attention to, okay, do they like the cute Biggie or do they like him stacked? Okay,
No one likes the cute baby.
they don't like. Don't get me wrong. There are
No,
some
he
people.
is cute though. I mean, he's adorable though, bro.
Yeah,
but I'm
like,
saying you get more like since people want to see the mean mug Biggie, they want to see the
Every
buff
time,
Biggie, they
bro.
want to see the monster Biggie.
And salute to everybody that does operate a page off of cute content and does numbers, because there are pages like that where their whole getup is cute puppies, and they make a living and do very, very well off of just cute
Salute to
puppy
them, bro.
content.
That's hard, bro.
And they go
Puppies
viral,
are so difficult to work with, bro.
They're extremely difficult. And that's why with me, every time I would record Biggie, I'd be like, okay, I know, the traditional stack, showing a little bit of his rear, fucking face closed, ears up, no tongue hanging out. I would do that over and over. And then I realized, like, you know what? How can I spice it up? Let's go to the mountain today. Let's go in front of some graffiti downtown. Let's do something inside. Because a lot of times people think that you have to go book a photo booth, And the reality of it is Instagram, the way that it's built, and this is some more free game. The way Instagram is built is for you to feel more of a homie vibe. If you notice the shit that goes viral, a lot of times it's not professional videos, And I do professional videos, but I know that if I do a professional video, it's more so as like a memorabilia type thing where, oh, this is a cool video, cool promo, but those professional videos will never go viral. It is extremely rare. They look cool, the quality's cool, the concept is cool, but Instagram knows that it's not something that's just raw off the iPhone and those rarely go viral. So I always tell people, literally get your phone out, pull up your fucking video,
Get your ass to work,
yeah,
man.
and if you have an iPhone, there's another little gem. If you have iPhone, Instagram can only compress certain amounts of quality. So if you're recording on an iPhone, always click the 4K 60, like when in your settings, and that'll always be your best bet. Plus, it'll look better. It'll come out taller. Like it's
That's
just
definitely free sauce, bro.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
It's just an
You heard it
easier
here
avenue.
first. Behind the breeders.
Yeah, and that was my main thing is, okay, cameras out, am I in 4K 60, Then I would do that over trending audio, And a lot of people always argue the hashtag thing. Should I use hashtags? Should I not use hashtags? From my experience, the hashtags never did anything, A lot of people have the longest captions and they put like 60 hashtags. If the hashtags are that important to you, you can comment on your own post those hashtags. And even though it's not in the caption, those hashtags in the comments will still be linked to that video without having to, because I'm very uniform, bro. I always do my friend, and this is some more free game, because a lot of people are like, bro, can you write my caption for me? And people think I spend a lot of time on my captions, but I really don't, bro. I'll literally be posting and I'll be driving half the time, and my first sentence is always a topic. After that first sentence, I always go into just describing what the video is. And then I throw my little 1 or 2 hashtags. You know what I mean? I keep it very simple, because a lot of people don't. And I see it all the time. I'm like, fuck, I wish I could help this guy. But again,
you helping right now, bro. You're helping right now.
But again, every time I do, you know how it is, bro. A lot of people are sensitive. They don't want to hear. They think that they can do it themselves, which a lot of people can. I did it myself. But I finally got to the point where I realized, like, okay, this isn't a one-hit wonder reel. We're going viral once every week. And when I say viral, bro, I mean over 50,000 likes. No paid likes, over fucking 80K shares on a single story or a post. So Instagram's important. If you can learn Instagram, it'll take you places way further. And this is not to knock any dog shows, because my first year, bro, we hit every dog show in Arizona. I remember it perfectly because my first dog show was the Bully Grammys Part 1. Biggie was only 5 months. He placed 3rd place, but even seeing people storm me and be excited about him, that confidence and that love I got really gave me the drive to be like, hey, we were in the fucking car every weekend, bro. And at the time, my son was like 1. My daughter wasn't even born yet, bro. And didn't matter if we set up or anything, we would always be driving, bro, to Phoenix all late at night just to compete,
to the family,
bro. Yeah,
no lie, bro.
And traveling with family ain't easy, bro, especially when you have younger
Children,
kids.
Hell no, bro.
They don't like the shows, bro. If you don't got an iPad, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be hell. But I'm glad I went to all those shows, because we were winning trophies, first place. So then at that point, I'm like, you know what? This is more content. This is more content to post. I can post Biggie with the trophies. I can post him, in the ring winning. And all of that stuff goes into the 10 stud commandments,
Facts, bro.
If you're winning the trophies, if you're posting, if your stud has the pedigree, like it's all intertwined. And a lot of people don't notice that. They think that, oh, I can just go to the shows and be good. Oh, I can post on Instagram once every 2 weeks and be good. It doesn't work that way. It really, really doesn't. So let me see. Let me get into
man, a bunch of free game, buddy.
Yeah,
bunch of free
bro.
game
And I can expand on those for probably another hour if I really wanted
bro,
to.
they're gonna have to get the book, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna come out with the ebook of some sort and really get into, because Instagram itself is such a hot topic. Like I can literally, and this is another free gem just for stories. So when it comes to your stories, you want to be the nice guy. If someone tags you in something, you want to share it, right? But it does not help you out. Why? Because if you have a story that has like 20 different stories and someone is clicking on your shit, it's common sense
I'm guilty of that. I swipe, bro. I be like, oh, you got way too much,
boom,
bro.
You're gonna swipe
over, bro.
And your profile appearance is also important. And what I mean by that is when you go to your profile, does it look nice? Are the colors different? Does it flow good? Or if you go to someone's profile and see, okay, this dog is on the same grass in every fucking picture. This guy's sharing 20 banners in a row. You have to give it some versatile and some flow in the sense of, okay, I'm gonna post myself and my dog today. Tomorrow I'm gonna post Biggie. The next day I'm gonna post another stud. The next day I'm gonna do a podcast. The next day I'm gonna do a vlog of my day. If you can get it to where you're doing different things and it's more appealing, more catchy to the eye, you'll go way further than someone that's just posting the same thing, the same fucking caption, the same background. You know what I mean? You got to stay switching it up. Really important. Really important. So let's check it out. Chapter 3 is basically how to care for your stud, things that are mandatory for a working stud, client relations, going over the stud contract with that client, and then things that always bring with you to a breeding, When it comes to caring for your stud, and this is, again, guys, this is just how I do it. This isn't telling you to do it this way. It's not saying it's the right way. This is how I do it. So with all of my studs, I am very, very strict on their schedule. I treat them like athletes, bro. I really treat them like they have a job. They're not just pet home dogs. Like, we show our dogs a lot of love, but at the end of the day, I protect them in the sense of I do keep them in kennels when I'm not home. I don't just let them free roam.
You never know what can happen.
You don't, bro. Whether it's the weather conditions, whether it's a bug bite, whether it's them getting into something and eating something, you know what I mean? There's a lot of money on the line, especially if you have a working stud, that you have to care for them, be overprotective, because a lot of people aren't, bro. They're really not.
They're not. And we're not. And when we say that, we don't mean that as like neglect, as keep them in there all the time. Because I've been to your house. Biggie got a comfortable bed in there for one. And then for two, he roams and stuff. It's just like you said, when we're not there 100%, I agree with that, bro. Because not only that, not even worrying about them destroying your house. It's like you said, they get injured.
My worries.
They get injured, man. I've came home to dogs limping and stuff, and you don't know what happened. No one was there.
You have to protect that investment.
100%.
You really do. Because not only are you protecting yourself, because people invest in these dogs, but you're protecting your clients, because just as excited as I am, to collect the lock-in money, the back-end money, these people want to use the dog.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. I've been waiting. You know how long I've been waiting to use Biggie myself,
Yeah, they're
bro.
waiting to use a dog. So, I mean, as a client, as somebody that's going to use a stud, finding out, the dog got left outside and he overheated, that's why I can't use it. It's kind of slapping in the face.
That's
you know
horrible.
what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not cool. So the way I care for my studs is I'm on a really tight schedule. I'll wake up, we'll do our little rec time. They come in, they free roam the house, but I am always watching them, bro, because I mainly have studs. I do have a lot of females, but I try to keep all my studs in the same house, in the same room, away from the females, because I never let them mix. Not only does mixing your studs with your females kind of hurt you in the sense of they can prolapse, if they're always trying to hump them, you could definitely cause a prolapse that way. They're constantly smelling them. They can get infections. If they're around them all the time, they probably are not going to have an appetite. I can tell you when my studs are working on a regular basis.
God, I got females
they don't
want to
eat,
now.
bro.
They don't want to eat. They're horn dog. They just want to fuck.
That's it.
That's it.
And it hurts us because then it's like, fuck. You got to think about a stud like an athlete, bro, because if this dog's not eating, is his motility going to be as good as if he's eating? You know what I mean? So I keep everything separate. Females in one room, studs in the other. When my studs are outside, my females are inside, vice versa. So I run a really tight ship. And when it comes to feeding them, I tell people this because there's always the questions in my DM. Hey, what do you feed your dogs? What can I feed my dogs to make them look like yours?
Other dogs.
It'll never fade, bro. That's probably one of the most hottest questions. And obviously it's DNA, I'm sure food does help a little bit. But I tell everybody this, and this is just as a Frenchie owner, it's not necessarily just a stud owner. If you can find a food that the dog is going to eat, it doesn't have to be, raw. It doesn't have to be a $200 bag of food. As long as the ingredients are decent in the sense of not a lot of processed shit, and he or she eats it, and they don't have, because Frenchies, bro, they have allergies all the fucking time.
God.
They're chewing their fucking feet. They're either scratching their ears. They're either
and they're so delicate. They are
delicate, man. So I tell everybody, as long as you can find a food that they're eating and they're not having a ton of allergies, just run that. My wife does do meal preps for all the studs every week. She does a mixture of mixed vegetables. We'll switch the protein, every week. Sometimes we'll do ground beef, sometimes we'll do chicken. What think the other one is, it's a certain type of pork chop. I think it's like lion chop or something like that. And she has her own recipe. So we'll add that as a topper for the studs, especially if I know they have a busy work schedule. And when it comes to stud vitamins, I was sponsored by Bulls Angel for a while. They were sending me free stuff. Shout out to Bulls Angel, man. They gave me, they hooked me up all the time, which was cool because I was already using their product as it is. Did I really notice a difference in the motility? I don't have an iceberg machine, so I really don't know. But if you do have a stud that is, motility is not great, vitamins and stud supplements could help. So if I know the stud has a busy week, I'll supplement them, But I always believe less is more, meaning if you overdo something, sometimes some bad shit can happen, So don't just keep your stud doped up on fucking stud vitamins every day, especially if he's not busy. They don't need that type of shit. Especially if the stud's younger than 3 years old. Backed up over there. Yeah, you know what I mean? So caring for your stud, let me see.
Stud contracts.
Oh, the stud contracts.
How did you come up with your contract? And what is in your stud contract?
I'll tell you everything, bro. So this is what's crazy is my stud contract when it started out was extremely short. I didn't know what to put in it. Then it got extremely long. And then it got to the point.
How did that come about? I'm sure, trial and error and things that you learned along.
That's exactly what it was, bro. So I ran into so many issues because I had so many clients where people weren't, they were going over the time frame that I gave them. They were telling me their female didn't took, but they would tell me months later. So it was all trial and error. My stud contract now, bro, is probably one of the best stud contracts in the world just because I've went through all the trials and errors and I know what to include. I know what you don't need. I know what people will try to get over on you in the sense of, oh, I only had this many puppies. Oh, she didn't take. Oh, here's the C-section scar. Like there's so many things in there that were put in there based off of just experience. So the way mine is set up, and it's very simple, anytime, and this is what I do for every single person. Anytime someone locks in one of my studs, I will always get their contact name, their contact number, their email address, their city, state, their Instagram name / kennel name, and the female name / color. I'll plug it in on my sheet. And then it'll basically, and I tell everybody this, look, you don't have to sign it. It's not a contract like that because at the end of the day, a contract is just a piece of paper in my eyes. I do it more so of a mutual agreement just so they can see my expectations and what I'm going to deliver. I tell everybody that. So the way that it starts is shit, okay, he paid $500, he owes, let's say $2K, and then it goes over what is considered a litter. For me personally, it's 2 puppies. But it's not just, 2 puppies born alive. I always tell people I want those puppies at least 5 weeks old that are healthy. So in case someone loses one, in case one fades at 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I want someone to have at least 2 healthy puppies older than 5 weeks.
And how do you know if they don't try to bamboozle you and say one of them passed away and just not try to have the papers for it? They'll just tuck it. Because some people, they don't mind.
I ran into it a lot, bro. And there's really no way of knowing. You can try to touch base with people and because in my contract, it also goes over, I want, weekly pictures on how they're doing, weekly updates. Do people do that? No. I don't get a lot of updates. So, I mean, there is still ways to get around stuff. But I at least list it so people know, like, okay, like this guy is kind of know his shit, So it goes over what I consider a litter. It goes over how many repeats I do, which this is all a guide. I have broken some rules sometimes. It's very situational, because at the end of the day, I would rather, give someone another box or something just to keep them around to do good business and to be like, you know what, bro, you've already tried 3 times. Your female's not taking. Fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? So I'll make so I'll make exceptions, but I always have a general rule of thumb where it's 2 repeats, 2 puppies, I always go over that, that shipping's not included. I will never include that. I always go over that if you come do the live I don't cover that because I do not do the AI. And of course, I list, the ultrasounds aren't covered because some people, bro, I've even got into people like, oh, so you're not going to pay for my C-section? and I'm over here like, wait, what the fuck?
Who does that?
Bro, I've ran into it so many times. So I go over everything that is included, everything that's not included. I go over that the deposit's non-refundable. I go over if the stud has a high caliber schedule and he's booked back to back, that by signing this or looking at it, I should say, you are potentially agreeing to a split sample, because I will not overwork my stud. That's why I listed in there like, hey, look, if Biggie has 2 breedings in one day, or if Biggie has a breeding, let's say today and tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to give you 2 pulls. It's just not going to happen because there's 2 people that are ready within 24 hours. You can split the sample because when I ship out a box, it's always 1 pull, but it's always enough for 2 samples. It always is. And if it's not, I tell my client, look, the sample wasn't big enough. We can either send the box out tomorrow. I can do a second pull if the stud doesn't have a busy schedule, or I can send you another stud. And of course, even if the stud that you're picking now is more in price, it'll still be the same price on whatever you're paying, and that's
some good customer service.
Yeah, you have to be, bro, because the client relations when it comes to, someone locking in your stud, a lot of times they're newer people in the game, they don't know a lot. So if you can really mentor someone through all of that and really look out for their best interest, not just for themselves, but who likes doing repeats? You know what I mean? No one likes doing repeats. I know a lot of breeders that will do a repeat and they'll lose interest. They'll be like, oh, I got to do a fucking repeat. Fuck that. You know what I mean? So I try to be as excited as I am on the repeat as I was when I was getting the bag. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of little things like that. But the contract itself, let me think. I know there's a couple other things in there. There's a lot in there. Let me just look one up real quick because I know that there's some stuff. And this is what everybody should have in their contract just because, you know what I mean? You always want to protect yourself. You always want to protect yourself when it comes to...
How much time do they have to use their lock-in?
So I always tell everybody 2 years.
2 years.
They get 2 years. At first, it was a year, but for me, it's very situational on the stud. Biggie's getting older. He's not getting any younger. He just had his 3rd birthday. So everybody that is now locking in, I tell them, look, bro, you got to use him within a year,
A good question is when do you plan on retiring him? What age do you feel like is like, what, you're done?
I just got to go with him, bro. I got to evaluate him. And this is another thing too when it comes to having a stud. We do routine blood work. I go in every 6 months and I spend the $250 per dog, per blood panel to check all of their levels, do x-rays of their hips, of their back, of everything just to make sure that they're still healthy, because sometimes liver levels will be elevated. Sometimes, thyroids might be messed up. Like a lot of people don't do it, but to me, like I said, I treat them like athletes, So for Biggie, if I were to go off of his age and his health right now, I honestly, bro, and this isn't, let me take that back because Biggie's very sentimental to me. I probably don't really want to work him past 4 years old, 5 years old.
Damn.
I really don't.
So they better lock in and use him now.
Not that I don't think he can handle it, but...
Though he's got some badass sons, man, that are starting to work now, huh?
Everybody that's been... It's because I raised his fee, bro. You notice the difference? When I had him lower, everybody was using him. The productions were semi-okay. Sometimes they weren't, but now that his fee's higher, bro, and the females... The caliber of the females are just decent. I'm not even saying they're next level, but they're good or they're next level. Bro, these productions lately, bro, are crazy, bro.
I know, man.
They're fucking, I'm looking at them, I'm like, Biggie's face, Biggie's body, Biggie's eyes, you know what I mean? So
that's one thing I see. He throws his face like a motherfucker,
the face is what he is really stamping, bro. The face and the dome is like...
he's cute, bro.
You just can't miss it. You look at the puppy and you're like, dude, that is literally Biggie's face, you know?
Yep. It's fire.
So, let me see. We got into, like I said, the 2 repeats, the 2 years. I make people, if they do not take I touch base with them right when I know that they're going to be delivering. And that's another hard part is remembering who you ran a breeding to. But I'll touch base and I'll say, hey, did she take? They tell me yes, they tell me no. You can either one, go into the vet, get the traditional paperwork this female did not have, make sure the name's listed, make sure the color, make sure the size, make sure everything is listed, was not pregnant, whatever, easy way. FaceTime me with an ultrasound. You can send me if there was never a litter, a picture of the stomach just to see if there's a C-section scar or an open one. Little things like that are really what is important, because a lot of people, like I said, they just and the reason that I'm so strict about all this, bro, is because I'm really busy with my studs. If I were to have a breeding every month, I would be way more lenient. I'd be like, oh, take your time. Oh, I'll give you another repeat because it's promo. Oh, but I mean, when you really have working studs, it's not just some dog nut anymore. You know what I mean? You're thinking about, fuck, I got two people ready in one day. Yeah, bro. Fuck, Biggie's gonna have to go again. I don't want to pull him again because I just pulled him like a week back to back to back. But you know what I mean? So that's why I'm so anal about shit now, just because it's not just like, oh, because a lot of people be like, oh, it's just dog nut, bro. Just send it to him to keep it happy. Like,
how did it go the first time that you realized someone tried to get down on you? Because I'm sure that has happened. Like somebody had a biggie
bro.
litter.
I fucking caught this dude. I remember it perfectly, bro. So he literally, who was it to? I think it was Biggie. Sent him a Biggie box. He had the puppies. This dude, this is so funny. He sends me the picture of the puppies, and I'm like, damn, bro, you had a 6-piece? Congratulations. That's fucking fire. And then he sent me an updated picture 3 weeks later. I'm like, damn, bro, they're looking good. Didn't hear from bro again ever. I'm talking like 6 months went by, 8 months went by. Didn't hear from him. Hits me up, hey, bro, my litter ended up dying a couple days after they were born. Can I get a repeat? And I lied to him. This is what I always do. This is a trick you can use on a bunch of clients. This is a trick. I was like, damn, bro, my bad. I got a new phone. I don't have any of our old conversations. Told him that to see what he was going to say, knowing that he thought that I didn't have any of our conversations, to see how he was going to lead the conversation. Told him that. He's like, yeah, bro, we delivered. We had 6, but they were having trouble breathing. We lost them within 3 days. So then I scrolled up and I'm like, dude, this guy sent me an update at 3 weeks. So he's already lying right there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because he thought, this is a while ago, bro. This is like a year after the breeding. And I screenshotted it. I'm like, wait, bro, I thought they were 3 weeks. He literally, bro, this motherfucker texts me back. He's like, my bad, bro. I don't like lying to people. I didn't know what to do, bro. And I really need that fucking, the repeat, He's like, they did make it to about 7 weeks and then they all ended up passing. I don't know what happened, And at that point, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I like doing good business. I like keeping people happy. But the fact of the matter of the dude lying to me, and the only reason he kept it going was because I straight up, told him, hey, bro, I don't have our conversations no more. Like, they're gone. I got a new phone. At that point, I didn't give him a repeat. I didn't. So that was that. And then this is another thing too, because a lot of people always ask me like, hey, when you get lock-ins, do you spend the money? Like, do you spend it or do you save it? What if something happens to your stud? What if they want a refund? Like I said, I don't do refunds, number one. Number two, I will spend the money if I have it in it. You know what I mean? Like, it don't matter to me, because at the end of the day, I know that I'm not going to refund a deposit. And not just that, in my contract, and this is important for a lot of people, but you have to have at least 2 studs. If you only have 1 stud, it's not going to work. You have to at least have 2. So I tell people in the contract, due to any medical reasons, my stud being on a specific medication, due to death, due to me retiring the stud, any of those things in those events, that stud fee will transfer to another stud in my yard. Just to protect me in the sense of something happening to one of my studs, them being on medicine where they are not supposed to be breeding. In the event that happens and you do not want to skip the heat and wait, or God forbid the stud dies, then you can use T-Rex, Tiny Diamond, fucking, any one of my other studs, just to protect yourself, because, shit happens, bro. When I was just riding off a Biggie for, you know, a year and a half when I had no other studs, bro, I was so scared all the time, bro. I was in that vet's office on any little thing that I seen Biggie, if he was walking different, if he was fucking looking at me different, no, we're going to the vet, bro. We got like 80 lock-ins right now. Like you gotta be good. You know what I mean? So I was paranoid, bro, because I had no other studs. And my whole family's like life at that point, like I had a 9 to 5, but like I said, bro, Biggie was making so much money to everything was in his hands. Like everything was in one dog. So at that point, it was when I was like, you know what? I got to get another stud. Once I started getting more studs, I realized like, look, you don't got to worry about Biggie no more, you know? Not in the sense of, oh, don't worry about him. But if something were to ever, God forbid, happen to him.
You don't got to worry about returning that money.
I don't got to return
and
the money.
And that's good that you put that in there, though, because I've recently had to add something to my contract that's similar to a puppy contract, though.
Yeah.
Because what had happened was I had sold a dog to somebody on a co-own, and they were having buyer's remorse.
Oh my God.
So they wanted buyer's remorse. They had buyer's remorse and then they expected a full refund, which I told them, like, first of all, you're insane. You know what I'm saying? You're insane if you think you're going to get a full refund. You gave me this much for the deposit. First of all, that right there is just void.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That right
1,000%.
there was just void. Like, that you're not getting back. And I was like, second, bro, like, I really don't do this. I wanted to make things right because I actually like the guy. I fuck with the guy, so I wanted to make it right. And I gave him the option, and what ended up happening was that when we went to go exchange the money for the puppy, he was like, you know what, man, fuck it, I'm gonna keep it, man. Like, you know, she ain't going nowhere. And it was like, whoa, what the fuck, you know, after going back and forth for a while now. But I had to put in there in my contracts too that, like, you know what, like, I'm never gonna deal with this again. Like, no matter what. Like say, because if I sell you a puppy at 8 weeks old, you know, I don't know if later on down the line that dog has a prolapse or, you know, has and for any reasons isn't going to be able to reproduce or is going to have difficulties reproducing, where now it won't be there. Now I'll swap you out with another female or another puppy, or, you know, but at no point in time will you be given a refund.
Yeah, and you would think a lot of people would know certain things, but they don't. They don't. And even if they do, they look at the gray area like, well, it wasn't listed in his contract. What am I, you know what I mean? So now I've learned so much that I'm like, you know what? Even to the point with the boxes I ship out, you know, because I'm constantly shipping out boxes. We shipped out 4, I think, within the last 4 days. So I even tell people, look, when you get that box and it's listed in my contract, not a lot of people do it, but it's at least listed so they know they fucked up. They're supposed to get the box when they get to the vet. I want everything recorded, you know, because I've had so many samples go to so many different people and they say, oh, it was leaking. Oh, it was dead when I got it. And a lot of times, bro, it's because, one, they don't know how to wake up the semen. Or they overwarm it, you know, they'll end up killing it. Or they'll get the box and they'll accidentally put it in the freezer instead of the fridge. You know what I mean? Or, like, there's so many little things. So I want to see how they woke it up. I want to see the video of the semen under the microscope. Like, I do all of that shit because there's been so many times where people are like, bro, the sample's no good. Bro, it was warm when I got it. Bro, like, so I make them show me everything, bro, just because it's not that easy to just, oh, let me go pull my stud, you know, go to FedEx before 4 p.m., do this. And I make sure that I tell everybody, bro. And this is why communications, client relations, and the stud contract are so important. The PGs, you know, let me know when you're doing them. So if you have a client and they're bleeding and you know that they're going to be testing, let them know, hey, do your progesterones either late at night so I know first thing in the morning to hit it, or get me those results before 10 a.m. so I can get with my repro guy, get in there, you know, because it takes me an hour to drive to my repro guy, an hour to pull, about 20 minutes to drive to the closest FedEx, and then get that box there before so you can still get it the next day. Because I'll have a lot of people hit me up at like 5 p.m., hey, bro, she's ready. I didn't even know they were testing. Hey, bro, I need the box right now.
I just recently dealt with a nightmare situation like that too, man. Like, I'm over there doing a damn pull, and the dude hits me up. Hey, I just tested my girl. She's ready. I was like, fuck, I thought we still had 2 more days.
Exactly, bro. So communication is so important. You know, every time I have somebody that says, hey, my female is in heat, I literally have a whiteboard in my house. So-and-so's bleeding. This is where they're from. Are we shipping or are they coming live? You know, just because when you have 8 to 11 to 12 to 15 bleeders, bro, shit can get really really intense, bro, and it can get messy really fucking fast. Really fast.
Facts.
Here, so let's dive into this next chapter. I feel like we spent a little while on that one.
It was juicy.
It was. So chapter 4, let me see, client relations. Okay, so when you're going to a breeding, this is what I do every single time. Anytime I go to a breeding, I will always bring alcohol with me. I'll always bring my lemon juice. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of, I haven't seen them personally, but I've known of studs, you know, at the breeding dying. You know, they'll go into cardiac arrest. They get too worked up, you know, where they'll be fine during the pulling. Once you release, stud just falls over and just dies, you know, because a lot of people don't know this about Frenchies. They think that the Frenchie can die from overheating. Frenchies can die from being overstimulated, you know, in the sense of if a dog is too hyper, if they're mentally too anxious, if they're mentally just nervous, or if there's too much excitement around them, that can make a dog go into cardiac arrest where they'll die. So when I go to my breedings, bro, I tell my repro guy, me and him are like this. So I tell him, hey, bro, I'm pulling up. I won't even get my stud out until I know he has his gloves on, until I know he's ready. I don't like going in there and waiting. You know, I make sure we go in there. My studs already know their job. You know, we get it done.
In and out.
We get it done. We get it. Yeah, bro. We get it done quick. I'll never, if it's alive, I'll never let my fucking my studs lick on the females, bro, because STDs are common in dogs. You know, and you'll wonder like, damn, why is my stud sample not looking good? Damn, why is he sick? You know, a lot of these females, bro. And I've seen them, and it's sad to say, but a lot of times people bring me females, bro, and they're dirty as fuck, you know? I'll look at the back end of the female. I'm like, damn, bro, you got green shit, fucking brown shit licking out. Like, what the, you know what I mean? So now I'm like, you know what? You can bring your female a little close as a teaser. But once I see my stud already doing the motion, I'm like, okay, bro, I'm good. You can move your female now. And then we'll continue on with it. So I'll always do that. I'll always, and I have a very strict protocol. And this is really good for, and I don't like giving out this game, bro, because I know people are going to start implementing it, which is fine. But this is my promotion. And everybody knows I do this. I've done it forever. When I know someone's ready, I'll always, you know, take a picture right before, you know, hey, so-and-so, hey, Jonathan, we're en route, bro. Post it on the story that, you know, people want to see the hype. This is how you build the hype. People want to see the momentum. Hey, got a phone call. I'll post this on the story. Phone call's ringing. T-Rex, you're up, bro. Then I'll make sure, okay, let me wipe him down. Don't bring your stud all dirty to the fucking breeding. You know what I mean? Get a fucking wet rag, wipe him down, wipe those tear stains down, put some nose butter on him. You know what I mean? Throw a dope collar on him, a harness, whatever you want to do. Try to get some quick shots of him as you're going to the breeding or before at your house. Post on your story that you're going to the breeding. And then I'll always record at the breeding like, okay, this is how the sample looks under the microscope, you know, and then I'll always try to either take a video with my stud in the box or I'll take a picture of the stud in the box together, you know, for the client. Cause I try to give my clients my network, you know, cause they're investing in me. So I'm like, you know what? They might only get 20 likes on their post. Let me collab with them on a post so they can hype their breeding up. You know, they'll get the same amount of likes I do. People will see their kennel so they'll know, oh, he's going to have biggie puppies. Oh, they're going to have, you know. So I'll always post after the breeding, and then I'll always post me going inside of FedEx, you know, doing the transaction. Just everything, bro. It's like a mini vlog every single time I have a breeding, just so people can, one, see we're really working, can two, see, you know, this guy is actually someone I can trust that'll give me the box, that does good business.
Too.
Yeah,
exactly. Like professional as well.
That's a lot of, so important. So important. So I'll do that. And then after everything's done, I always touch base with my clients. I'm always like, okay, here's your tracking info. Okay, keep me posted. Okay, let me know if you need anything. You know what I mean? Just really being that person that you know your clients can count on and come to you for any questions, you know, anything, bro. I've had people fucking call me right after the breeding and talk to me for an hour. Hey, do I start prenatals? Hey, when should I do my ultrasound?
I love those people though, because that shows that they care, man.
Yeah,
that they're really going to put their all about their
investment, bro. Exactly. And that tells me like, you know what? They're actually going to take care of their shit, because I also have the people that will breed to me. They'll post the same day on their story, their dog, their female jumping up and down from the couch, being taken on long walks and hikes and shit. And I'm like, bro, and I'll tell him straight the fuck up. You know what I mean? Hey, bro, we just did a breeding. You know, I know you don't like kenneling your dog, but at least try to keep her not as mobile as usual, just so she can really absorb the insemination and not have to worry about puppies being absorbed. Like, put her kind of on bed rest for a little while. Like, don't take her out as much. Don't do this, because there's a lot of times where I see people fucking taking their dogs to dog shows and doing, which you can. This is situational, but if you're really trying to maximize the possibility of her conceiving, you gotta put the female on bed rest.
You gotta let her chill. You gotta let her chill.
You have to.
So what's that, chapter 4?
Let me see. Let me check this out real quick. All right, so chapter 4 is basically building hype through the stories, which we kind of already talked on. I'm not going to get too much into that. Maintaining the stud's demand and understanding the value of having a big following and a big network, which we also pretty much touched on.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to really get into that chapter just because, again, I can expand on those for hours. Those are all extremely fucking important, you know? So we're going to skip that chapter.
And I feel like all the chapters leading up to that has led to, you know, kind of breaking it down as well, because like building up the hype, you know, understanding the value, because clearly if he's working, then there's value in him.
Oh, 1,000%. And that's another really good point. So when you do buy a stud, I always get the question, how should I price my stud? You know, what should I put him at?
Isn't that one of the chapters?
Yeah. How many intros should I do? Should I keep him exclusive? And I'm going to tell everybody this. If you do that selective breeding, you know, that exclusive mindset, you're not gonna become, you know, as big as someone that's just going viral and letting everybody breed. Your stud's resume may not look as good. I'm a victim of that. You know, I let anyone run to Biggie as long as they paid the stud fee. I didn't care, you know. Do I regret it? 0%. No, I do not regret it at all.
I'm about to say, man, I would not regret making a lot of money and making my dog famous.
Yeah, bro, because a lot, and it's funny because a lot of people will be like, oh, I want to have that exclusive mindset. I don't want to let him breed to anything. I'm gonna fucking. I want to breed to him like, first before.
I feel like that's the people that are more in the mindset of I breed my dogs to build my own bloodline. Like I can see that. Like
but they still expect to be famous somehow, and I'm like, bro, if you're not out there,
even without the famous, like man, I'm gonna be real. Like man, I'll take fortune over fame, bro. I'm in it for the money,
bro. 1,000%.
And I feel like you shoot yourself in the foot. I mean, if you're doing only exclusivity, you know what I'm saying? Then there's so many other people, man, a whole untapped market that you just refuse to get into.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times it's back and forth because some people will be like, oh, I want to be exclusive. I'm not going to let my male run to anybody, but at the same time, they kind of know. And this is how I know that they're being fake about it. Because I know for a fact if someone came into their DMs and we're going to pay the stud fee, that they would accept that money, that they're just saying they want to be exclusive because they already know that they're not getting the traction. They already know nobody's in their fucking DMs. So then they come on like, oh, I want to be exclusive. I'm not going to let, you know. So getting into that, having your mind already like, you know what? I'm gonna let my stud breed to anything, you know. If your vision is something like me in the sense of, you know, having a stud farm and getting the likes, the followers, the money, have already in your mind, like, you know what? I will let you breed to my stud as long as you pay the stud fee. Because if I weren't to do all those breedings, bro, that would be that many less posts. That would be that much less momentum built in the stories. You know, it's all a pipeline. You know, the breedings you post, the lock-ins that you post, the trophies you post, it all goes intertwined to everything.
It's all motion.
Yeah, bro. It's showing the motion. So if you can post all of that, you know, people will see, oh, this guy's really working. He's not just talking up the game. He's sending out a box. He's doing a breeding. He's posting this. He actually is doing his shit, you know? So have that mindset. Don't have the exclusive mindset. If you do have the exclusive mindset and you don't care about the money, you don't care about the likes, the followers, by all means, bro, don't let nobody use the stud. You know what I mean? Let him only go to bad females. Use him in your own program. But really know what your vision is, because there's only been a couple people I've seen that have actually kept studs exclusive that have went far with it. You know, Shout out to Joe. You know, Bayline's one of them. He's actually somebody that has $40,000 stud fees, $50,000 stud fees, and he's maintained the exclusivity while still building a fucking hell of a brand. But there's not that many people that can do that.
No, that's a hell of an accomplishment. That's a
Yeah,
hell of a
bro.
feat.
Like he actually proved a lot of people, including myself, wrong. Like, oh, you have to go mainstream to get to that pinnacle of the very, very top. Nah, bro. He actually kept the exclusive, kept his blood protected, and fucking is on top doing it.
Yeah.
So, chapter 4, that was one of the topics. Let me see. Maintaining the stud's demand. So maintaining a stud's demand is pretty hard, because once your stud is, they always tell me this, and this is what a lot of people told me when I first got in the game. After your stud's second birthday, they're gonna fall off. The stud's not gonna be that hot anymore. Not that many people are gonna want to use them because everybody's already got their play. He's already had his shine, and to maintain that momentum with that stud is gonna be hard. That last part is true. It is hard to maintain a stud's demand and their hype. But as long as you do it in levels, in the sense of always still posting that stud, at that point in a stud's career, you should be able to show productions at that point, show what he can do, and then really maximize on letting people know, like, hey, do you want in on this Biggie legacy? Because at that point, bro, people, they won't necessarily be as excited about him because he's young anymore, because he's not that young. But they'll still see the brand for what that dog should have created by 3 years old. And, bro, Biggie's still probably my top working stud right now, just because of the way
he's got a high ass stud fee.
Yeah, and his stud fee is really high, which is crazy now because people are still locking him in. The productions are getting even fucking better now, bro.
Exactly.
Because I'm actually about to fly out one of these Biggie puppies. Shout out to my boy Upset Bullies, man. He produced this dope ass Biggie son named Rhino. Posted him. Did fucking numbers, has Biggie's face to a T, compact as shit. So, maintaining that momentum and the hype is not easy, but it definitely can be done. It definitely can be done.
100%.
So let me check this out. So we're going to go right into chapter 5. Chapter 5 is basically content creation 101, posts versus reels, cute content versus badass content. We kind of got into that.
We got into that already.
Yeah, algorithm info. So the only one that I'm actually gonna touch on just a little bit is post versus reels, because a lot of people always ask me, like, what's better to do? Should I post? Should I do reels?
I feel like it changes, doesn't it?
It always changes, bro. But everybody's Instagram's different. So with me and my page, I know if I do a reel of Biggie and the quality is clear, I know if he's stacked a certain way, I know that it'll do numbers no matter what. That's like always like my indicator, like, okay, is your account flagged right now? Let me post a video of Biggie and see how it does, because that'll tell me, like, all right, something's up, or no, like, this is what the people want to see. Okay. So as long as you do both, posts will rarely go viral. It's always the reels that are going to go viral, way more likely than a post. It is possible for a post to go viral, but I always tell people, if you can get in the habit of doing reels more and videos, not just that, people will know your shit's not photoshopped if you're doing videos. You know what I mean? So it'll also help out.
These filters, dude, are becoming a motherfucker, man. Oh, yeah. I heard they got this filter that they are using out there in China, man, that will just make your dog look like a monster,
I heard about that. I was thinking you're talking about the Instagram filters. No, I seen it on, I think, off the leash, and I'm like, damn, you could fucking Photoshop a vid. Yeah, bro. That shit's getting pretty fucking wicked out there. So let me see. Chapter 6. Pro versus raw, in the sense of content. How to capture good content / angles. If you notice, a lot of this goes into the promotion of a stud. A lot of this is about Instagram. A lot of this is about, your content creation, because it's so fucking important. It's so important. How to manage your time on Instagram, and the do's and don'ts when you're making your posts. So the one I really want to get into is the pro versus raw. Pro pictures are nice to have as a portfolio, are nice to show people, like, and this is why your Instagram is so important. If you can have your Instagram set up to where you have videos of your studs, pro pics, raw pics, not only will it benefit you, to go be able to look at them, but it'll benefit all your clients. When they come back and they're like, let's say you have a Chewbacca litter, someone used him, They want to come back and they're like, hey, who's the dad? Oh, here's his Instagram. His name's Escobar Kennels. They go and they see so much nice content of Chewbacca that they can now show those clients like, hey, look at the stud's
Exactly,
portfolio.
exactly.
So that's another reason why it's important. But I tell people, look, pro pics are cool, you know, if you want to print it and put it on your wall or do things like that. But at the end of the day, bro, raw pictures will always get more attention. It's the same as like pro videos, you know. When you're on Instagram, it's like scrolling through a T-Mobile commercial. Your eyes are naturally already used to knowing that it's an ad, so you skip through it. If it's something more personable, more raw, something that you can relate to, that you can tell is inside of a home, your eyes are naturally drawn to want to look at it longer because it's not so picture perfect with the dog's name on top and the fucking, you know what I mean? It all contrasts, all sharpened up. So I do both now. I kind of started doing, I guess you could say, pro pics more, but it's just because I have a camera now, you know? So I'm always just trying to work on my camera skills because I offer photo shoots now. So I do both, kind of more pro now, but at the same time, I know if something is going to go viral, you got to post the reels. You got to post the reels for sure. So let's check this out. Chapter 7 is more Instagram stuff, basically. It's caption creating, hashtags. We talked about that. Filters and editing. So when it comes to filters and on my reels, I do use filters. I have all the preset ones I saved. Most of them, if
I
you
didn't
got,
even know that.
yeah, I have them. I have a lot of them saved. And the hottest one that I always do, type it in when you're doing your reel, and you can. There's a little search tab, 4K. You know, I always type in 4K, whether it's clicking 4K sharpness, 4K ultra. You know what I mean? Just any type of 4K. It just makes it more vibrant. You know, it makes it look sharper. So that's one thing. Camera settings on the iPhone users, we're not going to talk about that because I can't really show, you know, the settings for the iPhone. But my phone is set up where I click the camera and it's already set up to like all of my settings and shit like that. The importance of background settings, we already talked about that. Don't just fucking be filming on the same grass table. Switch it up.
Get them out them kennels.
Yeah, get them out the fucking kennels. Like, do different shit. Just be versatile. Chapter 8 is going over less is more, you know, the pro versus the raw and the clean version, the importance of protecting your dog's image, very important. How to make money without saying it on Instagram. Story tips, being personable and not just always asking for fucking lock-ins. Like, I think we talked about
I feel like
episode.
this chapter right here, dude, we can go into it for a whole nother hour.
Bro, easily, bro. Easily. Protecting the brand, extremely fucking important. And the importance of engagement with others. We covered that
Conduct
one.
yourself like professionals. That's what I recommend. Conduct yourself like a professional.
Yeah, bro, because there's so many times you'll see people sneak dissing other people on their stories. And I'm a victim, bro. Sometimes, like, I know my Facebook ain't popping, so if I ever have something to say, it's going to be on my Facebook because I know I don't give a fuck about it. It's not going to be on my Instagram story.
Fun
So,
fact.
yeah, so that's really important. And just understanding that when you're in the dog game, you know, you are gonna feel tension with other breeders. It's literally impossible.
There's a lot of pride, a lot of
yeah, there's a
egos.
lot, bro. So people need to understand that when you're getting into it and you feel like someone's sneak dissing you, they probably are. You know, it's probably about you. Don't, because at first I had the mindset where I'm like, oh, he's not talking about me. Let me just ignore it, which I do ignore it. But if the shoe fucking fits, just the shoe fucking fits, you know.
Wear that motherfucker.
But never really, you know, you don't want to go on your fucking story and be like sneak dissing them back because at the end of the day, your Instagram is your portfolio. You have potential clients looking at you. They don't like seeing the drama. They don't like seeing the messy shit. So really treat it like a business is really, really important. Protecting your stud's image, extremely important. You know, I'm going to get into it just very shortly. So what I mean by that is basically don't just post anything of him. Don't post the cute pictures with the mouth open, the ears down. Really try to capture those bully angles. You know, if your stud has a longer back or your stud has a smaller head or they have longer legs, do not capitalize and focus on those bad traits. You know, if someone's going to see it, they're going to see it, you know, and I'm not saying to hide things, but at the same time, learn the good angles. You
You
know,
don't want to focus on the bad.
Yeah, 'cause
that's
at
all
that
they're gonna
point-
talk about. That's all a hater needs. They just need one
That's
little
all they
flaw,
need,
and they're just
bro.
gonna dig it to the ground.
I see so many people shooting themselves in the foot, and I'm like, damn, bro, like you just shot your stud in the foot before they even had the chance to really even shine, you know, and really understand the importance of don't overpost either. You know, I see a lot of people will post, you know, the same dog 3 times a day. Like I did that with Biggie. I did. I'm a victim of that. But if you notice that you're posting a lot and they're all not doing numbers, just don't post for like 3 days. And I guarantee you come back in 3 days and you post and it's something fire, that it'll do
Yeah,
well.
more people will tap in. They'll be like, "Oh man, what's Buddy been on?"
Yeah, bro, because it always just makes its way to the top.
Yeah.
You know, it always does.
I think that's the way the algorithm works, man. Like, hey, you guys remember Jacob?
Yeah, here he is.
yeah, for sure.
It happens so
much, man, so much.
So really just be on your P's and Q's. If you're out with your stud in public, you know a phone's out, stack your stud up, protect the brand, protect the image. If someone posts something and you don't like it, I have no problem sliding in their DMs. Hey, bro, can you take that down? I don't like the way my stud looks. I've never had someone say, no, fuck you, I'm leaving it up. They always take it down.
Oh, that's
You know
dope.
what I mean?
That's dope.
Yeah, so really protect the brand, the image. Let me see. I think that was chapter 8. We already touched on pretty much all the other things, the pro versus raw, how to make money on Instagram without saying it. We can talk a long time about that, but I won't get into it. Just don't be stupid. You know what I mean? Don't be fucking posting prices on your shit. If you're going to
Facts.
post
You'll get
something,
taken down for
use
that. You'll get
emojis.
restrictions.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people that do dogs hustle too. So a lot of people kind of already know the getup. But if you don't post prices. Don't post available. Don't
They'll
post
take
come
your whole
shop.
page down.
Yeah,
Imagine
don't-
working so hard to build your Instagram up and it just gets taken down, dude.
That shit happened to me, bro. And then I had to fucking get someone to get it back. Then it was never the same. I can't go live anymore. You know what I mean? If I go live, I have to join someone's live. It's just you don't want to get into that mess.
crazy,
It
bro.
sucks.
And I feel like, man, some of those dudes, the same ones that fix it, are the ones that are hacking.
1,000,000%.
shit, which is crazy.
If they can
bro.
get them up, they can take them down. And what they do is they'll
100%.
take down the big pages like mine. Hit me up. Hey, Fire French Bullies, I'll get you your page back for free. Don't worry about it. Announce that I got your page back. I'll shout them out on my story. Hey, thank you, so and so.
And
Got
they
my
out
page
there
back.
just scamming the world.
and then they'll go to my picture, see who's commenting. They'll be like, this guy Escobar Kennels commented on his page. He has this amount of followers. They'll take your page down and then be like, hey, I'll charge you 1,000. I got your buddy Fire French Bullies page back. You can trust me. And then it's a pyramid scheme, bro. They'll start doing that
Damn,
shit.
That's fucked up. That's fucked. It's a cold world.
It's fucked up, bro. Because Instagram is like my livelihood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I've had it
it's your
taken
bread and
down
butter.
like 5 times, and every time I get it back, it just gets worse. Like I was getting easily 100 followers a day, bro. I've been stuck at 43 or 44,000, bro, for so fucking long,
I mean,
dude.
that's a good number to be stuck at.
Yeah, it's a cool number, but it was going crazy, bro. Like it was nuts.
No, it's gonna grow, bro. You've been growing yourself, bro.
Yeah, you got to, and that's the thing too, is just always be trying to be coachable. Like go on Instagram and really see what people who are making a name for themselves are doing, how they're posting, when they're posting. Don't post at midnight. Don't post at 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Post obviously when people are on
gonna
their
pay
fucking
attention.
phone.
Okay.
You know, simple things like that.
Chapter 9.
Chapter 9, basically what we feed. I won't get into that because my wife, that's all my wife, honestly. I don't know what the fuck we feed. I don't know what the fuck we feed. So allergy
But
testing.
feeding them is very important, though. I mean, clearly,
Extremely.
you don't want patches of loose fur. You don't want
Yeah.
allergies. You don't want yeast problems. you
Frenchies
don't
are
want
so
stomach
sensitive
issues.
too, bro.
Bottled water, or filtered water. I don't give my dogs any tap water. They don't drink it at all. Like they get nothing but filtered water.
Yeah.
I've noticed that it will reduce tear stains, and
does.
not to mention it just eliminates a lot of potential issues that you won't even know of that are going on through your water system. Because especially down here in Arizona, the water is super harsh. And
Yeah,
I
bro, it
wouldn't
is.
want my dogs to be drinking that, especially these $1,000 dogs.
And it's very true. You know, I see a lot of people that give their dogs tap water, and I'm like, damn, I thought everybody gave their dogs filtered water. You know, and
They
at first,
don't, man. They
I
really
was,
don't.
they don't. And at first, I was a type where I would have so many bottles of water, and then I finally got to the point where I'm like, okay, my family gets the water out of the fridge. You know, the fun comes out. But then I'm like, how can I get my dogs water? So this is what I do. I literally have the Arrowhead service. You
Yeah,
know, I have
that's
the
what we're
whole
about to
fucking
get.
thing.
We're gonna get a service.
Yeah,
bro.
I have the whole setup in the fucking kennel room where I just have those 5-gallon things, swap them out. Way easier, bro. Because at
Way.
first I was doing the bottles of water, then I'd be buying like the 2-gallon bottles, you know what I mean, or the
Yeah.
gallons. And
Yeah.
now with the Arrowhead setup, bro, and they come and drop off all the 5 gallons. I feel like I'm young again with my mom, bro. You know what I mean, living in apartments and shit.
No,
and they
I
bring
love
me
it, bro. I love it.
Yeah.
And not to mention, man, it's just you really got to take care of your investments. You want to take care of them. You got to understand, like, even though they are dogs, they are sensitive dogs. These are dogs that would not survive in the wild.
Oh,
and
fuck
that's
no,
the thing,
bro.
too, though. It's like, man, I see a lot of people feeding, going crazy with expensive brands thinking that that's going to solve everything. Like, no, every dog is different. Like, I got some Frenchies that are allergic to chicken. I got others that are allergic to ground beef. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just every single dog is different, and it's very important to learn that dog, learn their diet, and do what's best for them, do what's best for your family, do what's best for everybody.
That's facts, bro. And when you have a kennel and you have that many dogs, it sucks when they're all different with their diets,
Oh,
bro.
facts,
It's like,
bro.
oh, I know so and so can't have this. I know, so
So
that's,
when you find that perfect blend, bro, oh, you're in there,
you're
bro.
you're good.
in
You're
there, bro.
golden. Important supplements. Again, I think we got into that.
Yeah.
Stud vitamins. You want to use your prenatals if your females are in heat. Things like that. Who we use. This is kind of just more free game in the sense of having a stud. So who we use for shipping semen. Who we use for designing our logos. It all goes into branding. So I'll leave all of that out just because, I use someone for logos. Like building that brand for your stud is important. You don't want to just stick to the
100%.
pictures or the videos. Like keep it spicy. Make a logo
And you
for
really
the
want to
stud.
get locked in with somebody, a graphic designer.
Yeah,
because
they're important.
It's super important, especially someone that you like, someone that you're going to continue to do business with, because you guys can grow together. Like I've seen you and your graphic designer.
Yeah, we're
I
like
actually,
this, bro.
I actually used
You know where he
him too.
lives?
I don't know.
Just take a guess. Just.
I-
You're probably not gonna guess it. You're not. You're not.
Because you said that, I'm gonna say Tucson.
Nah, bro. So he lives in Nigeria.
I had no idea.
He lives in Nigeria,
But he
bro.
came up with this logo too.
Yeah,
he did
bro.
this
He's
logo.
clean with it.
Yeah.
Me and him are like this, bro. And I love him to death. I've given him a lot of clients. Like he eats, I eat. He takes care of me. Like so, you can get in with somebody that could be constantly elevating your logos. The custom animations. Like you're keeping it different. You're not just the guy on here posting the same picture. Like be interesting with it because if people
invest back into your program.
yeah,
man.
if people see you excited about your stud and they see like, damn, this dude made a logo for his stud. Damn, this dude did a professional video. Damn, like this dude, like this stud is actually something. Because look at all the fucking stud owners doing for him. People will feed off that energy like, oh shit, let me see what's up with fucking Hellboy. You know what I mean? Like they'll see it, bro.
Man, I can't wait. And I love that name I gave him, bro, because
Fire,
I could
bro.
do so much with it, man.
We're gonna get him under the lens, bro. He's gonna come on
I almost
that
brought him
fire
today.
French photo shoot, bro. It's gonna be fire, bro.
Shout out, man.
gonna
You've
be
been
crazy.
killing it, bro. You've been doing your
I've fallen
thing
in love with
bro.
taking pictures, bro. And normally I just like doing my own dogs, because I'm like, I don't want to take pictures of other people's dogs and edit them. But at the same time, it's like there's always every photo shoot I do, bro. It's always a fun photo shoot. You know what I mean? We're
I
chopping
believe
it up.
bro. I've seen you hanging
talking
from
game.
trees and shit, bro, swinging and shit.
Yeah. So, but I think we'll leave off at that. Chapter 10 is probably the most important chapter, but I want to save that one. That one's like the sauce.
What's the title, or what does chapter 10?
I don't even want to get into it, bro.
fair enough.
We're gonna leave that one just because I want everybody to absorb that and understand. Like, damn, I wish he would have got into this, or what about this? Because I guarantee you, what they're wanting is going to be in chapter 10.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
If you
it'll
guys
be
want to
cool.
see the chapter 10, drop it in the comments.
Let us know, man.
Facts. And
Let
not
us
to
know.
mention, we need to get more subscribers, bro. I
We
feel
do.
like, yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
We need to start promoting it a little more. I want to do some new ideas. I
Oh,
think the topics are
100%.
going fire, you know,
Topic
because
Tuesdays,
I have
man.
always people telling me, damn, bro, I had my notebook out, I had my iPad out, I was taking notes. And in my head, I'm like, I don't feel like we went over that much
and that's
game.
what I said
I'm
too,
like, now
bro.
we're
But
going to
with this
dive
one,
deep.
bro, you really, really gave out a lot of free game, bro. Me, myself, even I'm going to absorb because I got
you,
that
bro.
I got that boy now. I got Hellboy, man. So
And
I
that boy
really
is
want to promote him.
fucking crazy.
He is fucking crazy, but now I got to promote him properly.
Yeah, bro. You can do it, though.
Oh,
You got the sauce, bro.
For sure, for sure. And I appreciate that.
Always, bro.
Well, if anything, we'll wrap it up there. If you guys want to see the chapter 10, if you guys want to know what it is, let us know. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everybody. Behind the Breeders, man. Let's get it.
Thank you.
Boom.
Hell yeah.